Hi everyone, I am Katie, the Crafty Blog Stalker, and today we are talking print then cut. Print then cut is when you print an image with your home printer and then send it through your Cricut cutting machine, and the Cricut will cut perfectly around that image. So let me show you how. I'm on Cricut Design Space here. I'm going to click on New Project, and let's say we wanted to do a house. So I'm going to click on Images. And instead of searching all of the Cricut images that are available, I'm going to narrow down that search and type house, and then that will bring up all of the images that are associated with a house. Now, we are talking about two different types of images when it comes to print then cut. So there are some images that are specifically designed for print then cut, and those have a little printer icon here in the bottom right hand corner of the image. So you know right away that those are print then cut. Everything else is more of a cut, because that is what the Cricut cutting machine does, is it cuts. So it doesn't really need to specify that that's what these files are for. It's just kind of a given. So let's find a house that we want to use, because you can actually turn any image into a print then cut image, even if it's not specified as a print then cut. So let's look at this house right here. It is just a house, a cut image. So we're going to select that and insert that image into our design space here. Now you can see right off the bat over here in layers the different layers to this house. So if we were to click Make It Now, right now, it would be on 4 different mats, and you could do different colors, and then you would piece it together at the end. But if we wanted to just print this house out on our printer, so all of the colors were there, we didn't have to piece it together, there's this little magic button right here called Flatten. This button will basically turn any image into a print then cut image. So if we click that, you see how all of those layers come together. Now there's only one layer, and it is a print then cut. It's even specified there with the layers. So another fun thing about using this type of image for a print then cut is that you can totally customize. Now we can't customize in this flattened state, so we have to come down here to unflatten, which then just separates it back out into those different layers. But let's say we wanted to make this house look more like our house, like the house that you live in. So we're going to highlight the house, and let's make that gray a different color. So then we're going to come up here to this little gray square, and let's see, how about purple? Does anybody have a purple house? And that kind of dark greeny teal, that is pink. That's a pretty crazy house. But see how you can customize that and make it however you want it to be. And then once you're ready and you like how it looks, then you would come back down here to flatten. Again, puts it all into one layer, and you can print that out. And then when you go to cut it with your cutting machine, the Cricut will go right around that edge of the house. So it's awesome. You can make awesome scrapbooking embellishments or stickers, or so many fun things to use with the print then cut. But let's take a look at an image that already comes as a print then cut. Now you can go through and you can look just for those little printer icons, or you can come up here to Filter and click on Printables, and then that narrows down the search, and all of the images that come up are going to be print then cut with a house theme. Okay, I really like that one. I think this one's super duper cute. It's so cute. Okay, so we're going to insert that one. Now you can see when you bring in this print then cut file, it does still have layers, and that's because if you didn't want the clouds, you could click on the little light and see how it took the clouds out, or you could even take the house out. But it still prints it as a flat image, so you don't have to click flatten because it's already flattened. Now, not all print then cut images have this option to take out pieces, but this one does. Let's create an actual project. I have a neighbor that just moved in, and I have a candle I want to give them and just kind of customize the candle with a sticker that I'm going to make. So I actually like this image better, the print then cut that's already a print and cut. So I don't want this weird looking pink and purple house. So I'm just going to delete that and get that out. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the designing things that you can do and how to align everything up to make it look just right. We're going to start with our text. We want the sticker to say welcome. Going to actually say more than just welcome, but we're going to start with welcome, and I want to change the font. Now I already know the font that I want, so if I wanted to, I could come through here and browse and click on them just to see how the different ones look, but I already know the fonts that I want. So we're going to start with Babette. I love this font. Now I want these letters to connect because it's kind of a cursive font. So I don't want spaces between. So I'm going to come up here to letter space, and I'm just going to scoot those letters together until they connect and until they touch. Just like that. That looks great. Okay, now I also want neighborhood in this same font. Okay, so again, we're going to have to scoot those together. And we're going to do it the same way. Although this one is going to be a little bit different. Oh, it says neighborhood. Haha, that's funny. Okay, so I'm glad I noticed that because I can just double tap on that and change it to the right spelling. But I'll show you something here in just a second. So I'm just going to keep scooting that together. Scoot, scoot, scoot. Okay, now that looks really good, except the N is really, really close. So I want to kind of push that N back a little bit. So now how I do that, I've still got the whole word highlighted. I'm going to ungroup. And that is going to make each letter its own little image. So I can move each letter around. So I'm just going to scoot back that N and kind of space it right there again. And then I need to group it back together. But you'll notice I can't just double click on the word and edit it again because it now sees each of these letters as its own file since I ungrouped it. So I can no longer edit the whole word or the text. I would have to either start a new text box or just change one letter at a time. So that's good to know. So, and then we're going to have one more text box in here that says to the, oh, but put it right on top, but that's okay, we can move it. And this font is CF Jack. So that's the font for that one. Okay. Now one more thing before we start arranging everything is I don't want these to be black. I want them to match. So I'm going to highlight each word, come up here, and there's some pink in here. So I'm going to make them pink because I like pink. Okay. Now right now they're a cut file, which is okay. We are going to flatten. Remember, we're going to flatten, use that little flatten tool, and the black outline around those letters is going to go away because right now it sees it as a cut file. Okay, so now let's do a little bit of arranging. Okay, I'm going to move these out of the way. I'm going to start with the base. Okay, let's see, and I actually want this to be a little bit bigger. How about we make that 1.5 high? Okay. Yep, I like that. Okay, so we're going to leave it like that, but I want this image and the very end of my word to line up. So I'm going to highlight both. I'm going to click up here to align, and we're going to align to the right. And see how it just kind of moved that word just a smidgen? Now that these two pieces are right where I want them, I'm going to group them together so that then I can move them and they will stay exactly where I want them. Okay, now we're going to do welcome. Since I made this word bigger, I need to make this word bigger too. How big did I make that? Is that too big? That's a smidgen too big. Let's try 1.4. There we go. I'm good with that. Okay, so now we want the welcome to be on top of the picture. So we're going to arrange. We're going to move that to the front and see how that just kind of hops right on top. Now what we want to do, I'm going to move that out of the way. We want the welcome to align with the top of this picture and to the left of the neighborhood. Okay, so we're going to, the welcome is highlighted. We're going to highlight the other image and we're going to align. First, we're going to align to the left and see how it scoots. And then we're going to align along the top and it scoots again. Now, oh, and we have to group so that they can stay where they are. Now we just have to add the to the. And I could even make that just a little bit bigger. Now this one, since we aren't aligning it directly into the center, I kind of have to eyeball this one. But I can do evenly spaced. I just can't make it completely center from here to here. I can center it top to bottom. So we'll do that. We'll go to align and we'll go center vertically. Actually, I'm just going to raise that up. I liked it up just a little bit more. And that's okay. Okay, perfect. Now we are going to group the whole thing together. And we are going to click flatten to make this a printable. And you're going to see those lines around the words go away. So we're going to flatten. Look at how cute that is. That's going to be such a cute sticker. Now, if I were to cut this or to click make it now, when I go to cut it out, the Cricut is going to cut around each letter. And that's going to make it really hard. I mean, even like to the, they're not going to be connected because it's going to cut around each letter. So what I want to do is give this a backdrop for the Cricut to cut around. So we're just going to do a simple square. So I'm going to pull up a square. Up here, I'm going to click this little padlock. That makes it so those dimensions aren't locked. If it's locked, if I change one side, if I change one side, it'll automatically change the other side. If I unlock it, then it only changes the height and the width. Okay, we're also going to change this to white. And we are going to move to the back like that. Okay, so let's take a look at this image's size. It's 7.79 for the width. So let's go here and we want to make it just a little bit bigger. So 7.79, whoops, let's highlight that. It was 7.79. So let's do 9.5. That makes it about 0.15 wider. Okay, so it's going to change that width. You can see how it's going to fit there. But now we need to change the height. So we're going to come here again. 4.38 that's going to be about 4.55 for the width. 4.55 doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, it can if you want it to be, but it doesn't have to be. Now we are going to center again. So we're going to make sure that all of the pieces, both of those pieces are selected. We're going to align, center, and see how that throws that just perfectly right in there. Again, we're going to group, and again, we are going to flatten. So now when the Cricut machine cuts it out, it's going to cut it around this square right here. So our custom-made sticker is ready to go. The last thing we need to do is size it to the project. So I know for the candle that I'm going to put it on, that this needs to be about 2.5 inches high. Now remember, that is now locked, so if I just change this side, it's going to automatically change the width, keep it all in ratio, and it's ready to go. Isn't that so cute? Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, so now I'm going to click on Make It because I am now ready to make my project. Here is my mat. It's just showing me how it's going to look once I put it onto my Cricut mat. But the first thing I have to do is print it. So I'm going to click here on Continue. I can say I've already printed it, but I haven't. So I need to send it to my printer. Now I like to go to Advanced Options because then I can make sure that I've got my color set as I like with my printer, but you can just print directly from here if you want. Now one thing to note here with the bleed just kind of widens that outermost layer. Where we're doing white, it doesn't really matter, but like if it was cutting around those letters, each letter, if we wanted to add bleed, it would print those letters out thicker, so when it cut it out, there would be no white border. If you don't have a bleed, then you will have just that little bit of white border around each image or each letter. So it's really just preference and what you are working on. So we're going to go to Advanced Options. I am printing using my HP DeskJet. It's a 3051A. This is a really old printer, and I doubt you can still purchase them. It doesn't even have Bluetooth, but it still works great for print and cut. So it says here that I'm using plain paper. It doesn't have a setting really for sticker paper. I am using the Cricut printable sticker paper. So I just got in here plain paper with the best print quality. So I'm ready to print. This is just kind of my preview of how it's going to look. So I click Print. And then it's going to send it to my printer and it's going to start printing that out. And you'll see that it cuts or it prints with that black frame around it. That black frame is a reference guide for when I send it through my Cricut machine. It will register those marks. Here is my finished print. So now I get to go cut. So I've got my printout and my mat. So I'm just gonna align that on my mat. It's a new mat, so it's nice and sticky. Okay, we're gonna put that down. And then you can see my lights over here are blinking. So I'm ready to go. I'm gonna open that up, put my mat underneath those little guide bars. Click the arrow blinky light. And then now that this light is blinking, it's ready to cut. So the first thing it's going to do is read those registration marks. So you're going to see a little light come on, and it is looking for that black frame around my image, because it wants to make sure that it is cutting exactly where it should. So it's looking for those registration marks. Then it's going to calibrate the blade. And now it is going to cut out my sticker. This light is blinking, which means it's done. And hopefully you can see that little cut line. That is our sticker. So we're going to take this off. We're going to bring in our really yummy smelling candle. Let's see, it's Springtime Sunset. So yummy. And then we're going to peel our sticker. Easy, easy peasy. And then center it. on our candle. And now I have this cute little gift to give to my new neighbor. Isn't that fun? So easy to do and such a fun craft. So if you learned something new today, make sure and give this video a thumbs up and make sure to visit the Crafty Blog Stalker so you never miss out on any of my latest tutorials. Thanks for joining me.